Granders and grandettes, welcome to the Black Abstract Show. I'm your humble host, the Black Abstract. I welcome you all. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you turn on the post notifications where you get all the alerts, not just some of the alerts. I appreciate everybody who's joined the channel thus far. We are continually starting to grow, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Even if you don't comment, even if you just watch it, just like it, I appreciate that. So let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about Jaleel White. And I know you're wondering, like, who the fuck is who? Steve Urkel. The guy that plays Steve Urkel. Family Matters. You know? Oh, now you're getting it. Oh, that's his name. Yeah. His name is Jaleel White. That's his real name. He has been on the press run recently because he just dropped a new book, which is actually pretty dope. I just got it because I support everybody black. And my kids started watching Family Matters probably about a year ago. I just turned it on randomly and they just fell in love with it, you know. And they all got their favorite characters. Like, they favorite characters ain't even Steve Urkel. So that's why when a lot of people say, oh, they made the show about Steve Urkel. Yes, it was, but they also had them one-off shows where it's about Eddie, Laura. Everybody had their own episode about what they were going through. So it wasn't predominantly about Steve Urkel. He was just the main character because he was the most popular. But he's been on the press run, and for some reason, every time he says something, the black people are in an uproar, and I'm like, what are we so mad about? He telling his opinion about certain things, and we getting mad about it. First one was the Breakfast Club, where he mentioned Jamie Foxworthy, the girl that used to play on the show that disappeared, why she wasn't on the show, and what he think was happening. He was just, and maybe it's the way he's explaining it. It's just a disconnect with us and him, or maybe they just don't like it. I don't know what it is. So he just released something else, or was doing another interview, and I kept seeing people kept sending it to me like, yo, you gotta check this out, you gotta check this out. He's saying shit again. So let me check this one out. We're gonna see it together. And no, so he said something else. So he went on another platform, and he was kind of talking about how Family Matters wasn't mentioned in certain show. Matter of fact, let me just play the clip. Here you go.
Being a part of the TGI brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. You know, blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. And, you know, sometimes I feel left out of that. You know, so it's like, you know, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? And, you know, Martin is in there, Living Single, or any of those things. I already know we come in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as black folks. And somehow I became a symbol for black male nerd culture, to be quite honest. I mean, I know this for a fact. Any brother that grew up in the 80s and 90s, or 90s and 2000s, wearing glasses, he was told in school he looked like me. He was called Urkel. And he didn't look anything like me, guaranteed. But still, his peers would find a way to call him Urkel, and even girls to that extent. So it's really humbling to see how far nerd culture has come. And really, it's not nerd culture, it's smart culture, it's hobbyist culture, it's skateboarders, and I could never have known in a million years that I would be the face of that. I never could have known that.
I dropped out of high school at 11th grade, but eventually I got my GED and I did go to college. But there's some people that had two parents in their household, who had the best childhood, that went to the best colleges, they had the real college experience, they're super smart and bright, don't have the fucking comprehension to understand what he's saying. And I'm thinking that people just don't like Jaleel White for whatever reason. The first thing he said doesn't equate to the second part of his thought. Family Matters was a black show, but it wasn't necessarily an urban show. It wasn't a hood show. It didn't have an urban demographic. So let me say that. Urban demographic. But he's not even equating the two things together. He's just saying, yo, us as black people, we equate blackness to being hood, to having some kind of ghetto-ness in us and shit. That's what he's saying. If they have a poll of the best black TV shows, we're not going to get mentioned. They're going to mention Martin, Living Single. They're going to mention all these other shows, but he's not saying they're hood shows. He's not equating the two together. He's just saying these are going to get mentioned, not us. We'll get mentioned in the greatest family TV shows, but when it comes to just black TV shows, they not mentioned. And he's telling you the reason is they were on TGIF Fridays. They were only black show. They had Step by Step, Full House, Boy Meets World, if I'm not mistaken. That was the lineup, I think, when I was growing up. So that's all he's saying. He's telling you the plight he had. Yo, sometimes it sucks, you know, that we were on such and such because We were only black show around all these white shows, so we don't even get the validation from our people because of that. So when they mention these great black shows, Martin's Boss, we don't get mentioned because he's telling you, right? He's telling you why the insecurity he has is, why don't we see that and be like, oh, yo, that makes sense. Instead, people are,
oh no, Living Single wasn't a hood show and Martin wasn't a hood show. How the fuck don't y'all understand that shit?
like, why don't, I get it. I don't understand why y'all don't like the nigga. He do some corny shit, I get it. But this is just his experiences. But this right here was just like, yo, y'all really just don't like the nigga because y'all not even listening to what the fuck the nigga said. You know what I mean? And then if you want to get full context, watch the full thing. But even in that little clip, you can get context of what the fuck he's saying. It's like, yo, he's a black dude that's successful. And another thing, the man's been acting since Family Matters. He was a successful cast member on Family Matters, but he's been the successful cast member after that. Do a Google search and you'll see all the shit. I just saw him on a Disney show that just came out last week, the Skeleton Key. He got a role on there. The man has consistently been acting since Family Matters. It's just Family Matters is his biggest role. Y'all motherfuckers stupid, man.